Okay, so Stardew Valley is one of the most popular indie games ever made, and as a game developer who's played it quite a bit, I wanted to see if I could remake it from memory. That means no playing the game, no looking at gameplay videos, and no googling of screenshots. Just me and my memories. Oh, and because I thought that wasn't challenging enough, I'm also giving myself just 3 days to do it. Will the game I end up making be kinda close to the original, or will it just look nothing like it? I have no idea, but I guess we're about to find out. Okay, so we're going to start by making the player, and for now what I'm just going to do is make a white box, add some simple components to it, and write a very simple movement script. And if we now go ahead and hit play, we should have a white box moving across our screen. But of course this isn't exactly a player, because we can't really do anything. So I also went ahead and made this grid, because most of the things in Stardew Valley are actually on a grid. And the reason for this is because it's incredibly easy to work with. Because instead of an object being able to be literally anywhere, they're instead just on a very specific tile. And to kind of show you that, this is what Stardew Valley looks like if you take away all the art. Or to be completely fair, this is what I remember Stardew Valley looking like when you take away all the art. Of course, I don't know for sure that this is what it looks like. But anyway, let's actually get back to the player, because now we have a grid and we have things on the grid. And so what we now need is the ability for the player to interact with those things. And honestly, that really isn't that complicated. We just look at where the mouse is in relation to the player, we determine that that is the direction that the player is facing, and then when they click the left mouse button, we just change whatever is on that tile. And here is a very simple example of that. Of course, currently we're just turning all of the tiles red, but you can see that the player can interact with all sorts of different tiles. And so what we have to do now is determine how the player is interacting with it. So I went ahead and made a very scuffed inventory system, which doesn't look good at all, but is technically functional, because you can actually see here, these things, these brown tiles are trees. Like, the game sees these as trees. So if we go ahead and take our hoe, for example, and we try to hit it, well, nothing happens because, well, a hoe doesn't do anything to a tree, of course. But if we choose our axe instead and we hit it then, you can see that we're actually hitting the tree. And if we hit it a couple times, you can see that it actually disappears. Now, of course, normally it would drop wood and all that kind of stuff, but we're currently making the basics here, so it doesn't do anything. It just disappears. So again, we hit it a couple times, and then it disappears. But this is obviously not exclusive to trees. So for example, here we have weeds, right? Now, if we go ahead and try to use our watering can to hit these, nothing happens again. But this time we can use both our hoe, as you can see, it just disappeared, as well as our axe, there we go, to clear these out. See, there we are, and we can just clear these out however we like. And lastly, what we can do is with our hoe, we can actually hit the ground. And what happens is we till the dirt, because everything that you see here is technically farmable land. And we can do this for however many times we like to create a little farmable plot. And then if we go ahead and switch to our watering can, we can actually go and water the tilled dirt. And there we go. The game now knows what we are using to hit something, and it knows how to react to us hitting it with that thing, which is perfect because that means we have the base gameplay of our game done. Except right now, it looks really ugly. So let's actually make this thing look like Stardew Valley. Okay, so I decided to start with the player, as you can see right here. Now, I gotta be completely honest, if I'd made this video like a month ago, this would have looked totally different, because I wouldn't have known how the default player looks at all, and I just have made like a random guy. But because like 2 weeks ago, Concerned Ape uploaded the like 10-year anniversary video where he kind of showcased the development, he showed like old footage, and it always used like the default player. And so watching that video, I was constantly shown what that player looks like. And so when I had to draw this, I remembered, oh yeah, he wears blue overalls and has like a red shirt, right? And so I was able to do that. And now it actually looks really good, and I think it looks quite like the original player. And of course, it's not perfect, and to be honest, like, I really struggle with hair, but overall, I'm actually really pleased with this. Like, from a distance, this just looks like a Stardew Valley character. Like, of course, maybe I'm just completely misremembering what these things look like, but this genuinely feels like I did a pretty good job. So let's go ahead and actually put this guy into the game. And there we go, we now have him in the game, and if I did everything correctly, there we go. We can also move in different directions and it changes automatically, which is perfect. But of course, right now it looks a little bit weird because, well, there's no animations yet. So let's go ahead and animate this guy. Alright, so I started by making the walking animation, which looks like this. And even though it is literally basically just one other frame, which although I did switch the legs for these ones, it's basically the same thing, right? Just both legs kind of in the air like this, because I'm pretty sure that the Stardew Valley character runs like that. And I just think it's a really cute run. And also, for the record, much easier to animate, like so much easier to animate than all of those difficult walk cycles of every other game. Like, this was remarkably simple, which I really appreciate. But even though this was fairly simple, for the animations overall, I did have to draw quite a few of them, because of course you're working with like 4 different directions, right? So everything has to be drawn 4 times, and that leads to quite a few frames. And like you can see here, this is me drawing like the tool use animation. So when you use an axe or you use a hoe, like this is the animation that you do, and like that's only 4 frames, but I do obviously have to draw it 4 separate times for every single direction, which takes a little bit of time, especially of course when you also have to draw the tools, which for example this is the axe, right? So here's like the default sprite that I made, and then for the front and the back animations I had to make like separate sprites because those are a bit different. But I'm pretty sure that for the side animations the game just uses the regular sprite, like it just animated in game and not actually as like a pixel art animation. And the reason I remember that is because it annoys me so much. Like, Stardew is a great game, don't get me wrong, and it looks really beautiful, but it's also a game full of mixels, and I despise mixels. But because I know that that's what's in the actual game, I of course have to do it. So I didn't actually add it to this animation. I'm going to animate this specific sprite in the actual game to kind of like follow this animation. I don't know if it's going to look good. I imagine it won't, but I know the game does this, so I have to do it as well. Same goes for the hoe, of course, which I also drew. Here you can see the different animations for the front and the back. And again, we're just going to animate it inside of the game for the different side views. I also went ahead and made a watering can, which you can see right here. Now, I gotta be honest, I don't like this one. I actually don't think it looks very good, but I genuinely couldn't draw anything better. Like, I tried for like a decent bit, but yeah, this is about the best that I can do. But because it's such a tiny thing, like it's only one tool, is one specific sprite, like I'm not gonna worry about it too much. I did, however, animate some water coming out of them. So here you can see, this is my watering animation. And yeah, this one also isn't very good, but you know, it's very difficult to make good looking water, and I feel like it's more useful to spend my time on other things. So this is going to be what the watering animation looks like. So yeah, let's go ahead and put all of these different animations into the actual game. Alright, so I imported all of the animations, and I mean, it's quite a few of them. And as you can see here, for example, for the axe one, you can see that we've basically just added the sprite on top of this one. Even though, again, I think this looks terrible, I'm pretty sure that is what the game does as well, so I have to do it. You can see that with every frame, kind of, it follows that animation. Again, I just wish I could have animated an actual axe, but, you know, I gotta follow the source material. So yeah, this is what you have. And so, I mean, from a distance, it probably looks fine, right? It's fine. It's not great, but it's not the worst thing either. Up close, I think it looks absolutely horrible, but, you know, it is what it is. But yeah, every single animation is in here, like the watering animations too, for example. There you go. Of course, we have the walking animations, which look like this. And yeah, I mean, apart from like the side tool animations and maybe the watering animations, I think most of these look pretty good. And of course, I also made sure that they actually play at the right moments. As you can see here, we're actually walking around now, and there is a walking animation being played, and it honestly looks pretty good. And also, if we take our hoe, for example, our axe, and we hit this, you can see that we actually have our axe animation for every single angle. And yeah, it looks fine. Again, from a distance, it's not too bad. Here, for example, again, same thing for the hoe. Like if we till this dirt, for example, there you go. You can see all the different animations are all working, and it does look much better, of course, than the white box we had before. But again, that wasn't very difficult. Also, just to show everything, like the watering can, of course, also works with the terrible watering animation. But yeah, it all works completely fine, which means that we now have the player completely finished, and it's time to work on the rest of the environment so that we're not just looking at a bunch of squares. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, first things first, I made the ground yellow because the ground in Stardew Valley is, of course, this really nice yellow color. But this doesn't look like Stardew Valley dirt because we first need to add a texture to it. And I gotta say, I think I did a pretty good job with this texture. Now, I gotta also be honest, this is not pixel art. I didn't make pixel art with this. You can see it's very blurry. I didn't generate this, but like I didn't draw every single individual pixel of this. Of course I didn't. You can probably also see that I basically just copied the same thing over and over again. We're gonna make a tile out of this anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, I actually think that this looks pretty close to what Stardew Valley dirt looks like. Like it has this sort of vibe to it, where it's kind of like, what's the word? Like paw imprints, as if there's like a bunch of horses running around. Like that's what it looks like in my mind. So I tried to kind of recreate that, which I think I did a pretty good job of that. Like this does look like Stardew Valley dirt. But after I made this, I of course went to work on drawing some actual things in the game. And the first thing I made were these rocks, which I think look pretty good. Like these are rocks, obviously. Like everyone will see that these look like rocks. Now I gotta be honest, I think that the Stardew Valley rocks probably look a bit different than these. I struggle to like remember what they look like because to me they're just basically grey blobs, and I didn't really know what else there was to it. So I just added some shadows, added some highlights, and that's about it. Like, that's the best I can do with what I remember these things being. However, when it came to the weeds, it was a bit more tricky, because this was my first attempt, and I looked at this after I drew it, and I was like, that's wrong. That's not what the weeds look like. I don't know what it was about it, but it just didn't feel right. My conclusion was that the perspective was off, and then I made this, which did feel right. Like, I feel like I've seen this weed like a million times in Stardew Valley, whereas this just looks a bit like a weird, I don't know, like one of those things that like an old plane had like in front of it, right? You know, the thing that rotates. I don't know what that's called. That's what that looks like. This actually looks like a plant. So yeah, I'm actually very pleased with how this looks. Like, that feels like the iconic Stardew Valley weed, and this would actually be the thing that I'd be most proud of drawing if I hadn't drawn this thing. Like, oh my god, I am proud of this tree. Like, I'm normally not that proud of my drawings. Like, I don't know if you've noticed, I'm usually pretty critical of the things that I draw, but not this one. This I absolutely love. I think this is a great tree that I drew. Like, I am so happy with it. Like, even the shading on the trunk, I absolutely love. Like, I think this is pretty good texture, especially because I'm using a technique that I normally don't use. So for that, I think it looks absolutely great. And yeah, this, I mean, I don't know what I did exactly. Like, I just started basically drawing leaves, and eventually it ended up looking like this, but I'm so happy with it. Like, genuinely, I feel like you could give me a year and I wouldn't draw a better tree than this. Like, I am actually so happy with it. And I also think it looks pretty similar to what I think a Stardew Valley tree looks like. I'm not entirely sure, of course, because I don't perfectly remember, but this feels pretty close. So yeah, I'm absolutely stoked about this drawing, like, genuinely. Not even because it's like really complex, but just because the end result is so close to what I wanted to draw. But yeah, enough about this tree, which again I absolutely love, and let's go ahead and actually put these things into the game. Alright, and here we are. I've imported all the assets we made. As you can see, we have the weeds here, which we can of course still hit, and the same thing happens. We also have the rocks, but because I didn't make a pickaxe, there's nothing much that we can do about them. I mean, they're just there, I guess. I'm not going to add a pickaxe either, because I don't have to deal with adding another tool. So they're just going to be there purely decoratively. But of course, we did make an axe, and we did make a tree, so we should be able to hit the tree, except we still have the exact same animation as when it was just like a square, and for the square it looked decent that it just became like really big, but this kind of looks a bit weird, and of course is not what happens in the actual game. So we need to make sure that the tree cutting animation is closer to what is actually in Stardew Valley. So let's go ahead and do that. Now, sadly, making these animations meant I had to once again work with mixels, because what Stardew Valley does is actually separates the tree trunk from the tree, like, stump in the sprites themselves, so that this can be animated separately from this. Except this means that we are once again rotating pixel art to create misaligned pixels, and I really don't like this. But again, because it is what Stardew Valley does, I did have to do it. So this is what the tree hit animation looks like, and I think this is actually probably pretty close to the actual game. And honestly, this I can kind of live with, but the tree falling animations, I did not like making. This truly hurt my heart, because this is what I made for the tree fall animation. That really hurts. Like, genuinely, something in my soul is being crushed having to animate this, because like having pixel art at these angles I really don't like. Like, look at that. Like, this is like, oh my god, yeah, no, there's something about this that just does not feel right to me. But again, this is definitely what Stardew Valley does, so I did it as well. Like, damn, the sacrifices I'm making for this challenge. Like, really letting go of my principles here. But anyway, let's actually show what this looks like inside of the game. Alright, so if we select our axe, of course, and we walk up to a tree and we hit it, you can see that it does the little like wiggle thing. Of course, we can hit it multiple times, because that's what we need to do to cut down a tree, and eventually it falls down. And yeah, I hate that animation, but that is what is in Stardew Valley. But yeah, that is the animation. We can now hit trees, we can now cut down trees, and it actually is fully animated and looks pretty good. If you ignore the absolute crime against humanity that is rotated pixel art. But of course, there is one thing missing when we cut down trees, of course, which is that they don't drop anything. They just kind of disappear into the nothingness. So let's fix that by actually adding some items to the game. But before we actually get to that, this video is sponsored by REDMAGIC. Now, if there's one thing that REDMAGIC is good at, it's mobile gaming hardware, and their latest phone, the REDMAGIC 11 Air, is no exception. They actually sent me one to try, and I gotta say, it's genuinely amazing. I'm currently playing Warframe, which is one of my favourite games, and I honestly couldn't believe how smooth it ran. At max settings, it never dipped even a single frame below 60, something my old phone couldn't even dream of. In fact, the whole phone just blew me away, with a 144Hz refresh rate, up to 16GB of RAM, and a 6.85-inch OLED screen. It both looks and runs incredible. But besides the amazing performance, it also has something else that improves the gaming experience tenfold, which is shoulder buttons. These things are truly amazing. You're able to set up these buttons to any position on your screen and basically make them behave however you like, which means instead of having to constantly tap different buttons with your thumbs, you can relay some of those inputs to your other fingers, which just makes everything so much easier. In short, I genuinely think that this is a really good phone, both as a daily use, which is actually what I've been using it for, and as a genuine gaming device. So if that sounds like something that you'd be interested in, make sure to check out the REDMAGIC 11 Air by clicking the link in the description. Thank you so much to REDMAGIC for sponsoring this video, and let's get back to it. Alright, so I went ahead and drew just two items, the wood item, of course, and the fiber item, which is what the weeds drop. And I gotta say, the wood item I'm actually really happy with. I think that this is pretty damn close to what is in the actual game. Like, of course, maybe specifics are a bit wrong, and probably the scale is a bit wrong, but I actually really like this one. The fiber one, however, is a complete mess, because I just had no idea what to do with this one. Like, I just remember it as being just a bunch of green things. Like, I don't remember what the fiber item looks like. It's just a bunch of blades of grass, right? So, you know, what I just did is I just took like the darker colors from the weed sprite, and I then used those to basically make the most chaotic, grassy looking thing that I could, and this is the end result. Yeah, I don't think it looks good, but, you know, I also have no idea what else to draw. So yeah, but anyway, let's go ahead and put these items into the game. Alright, so I made it that items now get dropped when you, for example, chop down a tree. So let's see if I actually did it correctly. I haven't tested this, so hopefully it works. And there we go, we now have some wood. I also made it so that the wood actually shows up in your inventory. So as you can see, we now have 6 wood. Of course, we can also get rid of the last stump, which also drops some wood. It was fairly quick as we were close. And now we have 10 wood. Now, of course, we can also destroy the weeds, which gives us a fiber, as you can see right here. And honestly, this all works pretty well, right? I wasn't expecting it to work first try, but here we are. Okay, so what I want to do now is revamp the inventory just a little bit, because, you know, we've made the rest of the game look decent, so now we really need to get rid of this. Alright, so I just went ahead and made a very simple inventory right here. So yeah, it's just basically a backdrop image, which is fairly easy to make, and then I just add the sprite of whatever is supposed to be there, and that's really all there is to it. But if we now, for example, go and hit this tree, and we go and collect some of this wood, you can see the wood appears in the inventory, and that is perfect. That's exactly how it's supposed to work. Same goes for the weeds. If we go and do that, you can see that it shows up in the inventory just the way it's supposed to. Now, of course, again, this is very simplistic, and it's not at all as good as Stardew Valley, but you know, nothing in this game is going to be as good as Stardew Valley. We're just trying to make like a rough approximation. But yeah, I actually think that this looks pretty good. Like, I'm actually fairly happy with how this all looks. However, we are currently still missing the most important part of Stardew Valley, which I can't believe we haven't done up until this point, which is the farming. We currently can't farm at all. Like, if we try to till the dirt, we just get this, which hasn't changed since like hour 1 of the game. So let's go ahead and actually add some farming to this game. I started by actually making a sprite for the tilled dirt along with a watered variant, which was fairly easy. I mean, it's dirt, it's just a bunch of shades of brown, right? Not too tricky. I then went ahead and made this, which is the parsnip, the very first thing that you ever plant in Stardew Valley. So it only seemed fitting that that's the plant that we made. Now, this is like the finished parsnip, of course, when it's like fully grown. I also made ones for the growing stages, right? So this is when it's still in the growing process and not fully done yet, and of course the raw seeds that you actually plant into the ground. And this, of course, is the parsnip that you eventually harvest when the plant is like done growing. And this is actually all that we need to add farming to our game. Except for one other thing, which are the seeds, of course, because we need to have something that we can plant. So I made this very simple seed sprite, which I think is probably pretty accurate. And just in general, like, actually, I think these parsnips are probably pretty close to the actual game. Like, I hadn't talked about that yet, but like, of course, I have to do this from memory, so I have to remember what these things look like, and I'm pretty sure that this is almost exactly it. Like, there's probably some details that I missed, but yeah, I'm pretty confident that I did at least a decent job with these. So yeah, let's go ahead and put all of this stuff into the game and actually make the farming functional. Alright, and if I've done everything correctly, I should now have added farming to the game. Of course, as you can see, we now have 9 parsnip seeds, which of course is required. And if we now till the dirt, there we go, it now actually shows up as the proper sprite. We can now make a little farming patch right here, which we can of course plant our parsnip seeds in, like so. And I mean, this is all working, which is great. We can now water this. There we are. I mean, I was thinking that something might break, but no, everything's going great so far. Now, I will say this. Normally, of course, for this to grow, you have to go and sleep in a bed and all that kind of stuff. Now, do you see a bed anywhere? I don't. So what I did is I just programmed a key on my keyboard to simulate a day moving on. So if I go ahead and press that, you can see that they now all grow into their like growing stages. Now, if I go ahead and press that button again, nothing happens because we have to go and of course water these again. So if we go ahead and water all 6, right, there we go, and we now press that button again, we now have some fully grown parsnips, which is awesome, which we can now actually harvest. There you go, and we now have some nice parsnips. Here we are, we've now converted, oh shoot. I knew I'd forgotten something. Yeah, okay, we still have 9 parsnip seeds and we also have 6 parsnips. I was going to say that we now have 3 parsnip seeds and 6 parsnips, but I didn't actually make it decrease when you plant them. That's a bit of a mistake, but we'll fix that later. For now though, what I actually want to do is I want to go ahead and make the house from Stardew Valley so that we have a way for like the day to progress and I don't have to keep pressing E on my keyboard. So let's go ahead and do that, and afterwards I will fix this issue. Okay, so this was by far the most difficult thing I had to draw for this entire video, because drawing this house took everything I had. Because when you look at this, I mean, you will immediately see it is not very good, right? I don't think that this is a very good drawing. Like, this is all very, very sloppy work. And the reason for that is because I suck at drawing wooden planks. Like, I just can't do it. There is something about like the wood plank texture that I just can never get right. So as you can see here, what I basically just did is I just shaded the top and bottom. That's all I really did, and it doesn't look very good. I'm not very happy with it at all. I'm also not happy with this door, by the way, because it just looks identical to the rest. Like, I don't know how to differentiate it though. Like, I don't remember the door being a specific color. I do remember the roof being red, but that's about it, right? There's nothing else really to it. Now, this I'm not as mad about. I still don't think it's very good. Again, like, I don't know what I'm doing here. Like, this texture, I just don't know what to do with. You know, I did remember this being here though. Like, I remember this being like tiny wooden planks or something like that. So that's something that I know is accurate. This is also something that I'm pretty sure is there. Like, it's just the like log storage or whatever. And that the roof is red. Everything else I just didn't know about, so I just tried stuff, and again, because I'm just not very good at wooden planks, I don't think it turned out very well, but hopefully you'll forgive me for it not being perfect. But anyway, we're still going to put it in the game, so let's go ahead and do that. Alright, and here we are. I've added the house to the game. I've also went ahead and actually decorated the scene properly with some trees and weeds and stuff, because previously, obviously, we just had those like 3 trees down here, and that wasn't very interesting, so I went ahead and did it like properly. But let's go back to the actual new thing in this scene, which is the house. Now, it's a relatively simple thing. I mean, there's not really anything to it. Of course, we can go and walk through the door, and if you were expecting to go inside, I'm sorry to disappoint, but we do not have the time for that, nor do I really want to bother doing that. So all we really have is the ability to go inside and then kind of skip the day, so to speak, because that's what we need it for, right? So when we plan things, we can go into the house and then it will kind of skip forward to the next day, at which point the plants will have grown like one stage. So let me actually show you that, right? So if we go ahead and plant some parsnips right here, just like so, and we go and we water them. Also, as you might have noticed, I got rid of the like red indication marker because it just really got on my nerves, and it didn't look good at all. And of course, the actual game doesn't have it, at least not for everything, so I got rid of it. Anyway though, if we actually go into the house, you can see that now the plants are indeed one further stage, which is awesome. That's exactly what we want. And of course, if we do it again, there we are. We now have some nice parsnips, which we can harvest. And I mean, that's all working perfectly, right? That's exactly what we need, which means we now officially have like some sort of gameplay loop, almost. I mean, obviously, once our parsnip seeds are gone, like, we can't really do anything. But, you know, besides that, we've got a pretty decent gameplay loop, which is perfect because that's 3 days. This is the game after 3 days of working on it pretty much non-stop, and honestly, I am pretty dang proud of it. Now, is it perfect? No. But can we do a lot of things that you can do in Stardew Valley? Yeah. And do the things that I had it look pretty dang good? I do think so. Like, we're able to chop down these trees, which is awesome. We're able to get rid of these weeds, although they're not dropping anything. Oh no. Okay, well that kind of sucks. That kind of is a bit of an anticlimactic thing in the final reveal. I think I just forgot to add the prefab to the weeds thing. That's so annoying though. Anyway, imagine that dropped fiber, because this is kind of the big reveal and I don't want to go back and fix it and then do this again. So imagine that dropped fiber, right? It looked really good, amazing fiber. The item looked amazing. But yeah, this is the final product of the game, and honestly, I don't think it's that bad. Like, we're able to farm crops, we're able to chop down trees, we should be able to get fiber from these weeds, but apparently we can't. And I feel like the things that I made are pretty accurate to the actual game, but now is the moment that we're actually going to find out. So let's see how wrong I was. Alright, so here we are in the actual game, and we're just going to start a new game, I guess. And, I mean, honestly, that's pretty close. I mean, I got the hair wrong a bit, but like the outfit is nearly identical. Right, let's just put some random stuff in here. Alright, let's go and start this playthrough. Alright, the first day. Oh, actually, these tools. I mean, that's pretty close to what I made. Genuinely. I mean, the watering can is far off. I get that one. But the axe and the hoe are actually pretty close. Alright, moment of... Wait, there's grass here? I completely forgot about this. I do not remember there being green grass. I thought the whole thing was like the yellow dirt. Why did I not remember this? Like, of course, I didn't make the grass because I thought we're not leaving the farm, so there's no point. That's kind of crazy. Also, the tree. I mean, I was very happy with my tree, but this one kind of blows it out of the water. Although, honestly, looking at the house, that one's pretty much, like, the same. Like, there's also not that many details on this thing. I got these ones right. This is a little bit lighter than I made mine. But honestly, I thought it was, like, really far off. It's pretty close. Yeah, honestly, my version of the game just kind of looks like a low-res version of the original. Alright, I mean, the dirt, I didn't make the dirt connect. I knew I wasn't going to do that, but just the general texture feels about right. Now, I'm very curious about, like, the plants, about the different, like, growth stages. So we're just going to quickly go to bed, because I don't remember what those look... What? No way! There is no way I get this right now. What are the odds? I mean, I can put on screen what the odds are. Like, I don't know. They must be low, right? Okay, I can't believe that I got this when recording. That's crazy. Anyway, I guess we get to see what fully grown parsnips look like. I kind of want to see like the different growth stages, but I guess we don't get to do that. They do have way more leaves than I remember though. Like my version doesn't have that many leaves. These ones have tons of them. I am going to plant these, however, again, because I do want to see the growth stages. So we're just going to hope that we don't get a fairy like twice in a row, which would be ridiculous, but who knows? Alright, yeah, of course it's raining because that's what the third day always does. And oh my god, I got that spot on. That is so close to what I did. Okay, wait, let me sleep again so we can get rid of the rain real quick. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much identical. What does the cutting animation look like? Yeah, it's exactly what I thought. It just kind of shakes a bit, and then when I cut it down fully, yeah, fall over like that, and then it explodes. Yeah, that's exactly what I had as well. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty dang happy with what I made. Of course, again, Stardew Valley is way more detailed than the game I made, but overall I think I can be pretty pleased with what I made. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed watching me make this, and if you want to see more videos like this, I also did the same thing with Hollow Knight, which you can check out right here. And if you don't want to miss any new videos, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.